Hello, welcome to the ALEC 50th annual meeting here in Orlando, Florida. I'm joined right now by YASS Prize Award winner, Kenisha Skaggs. She's with the SOAR Academy in Georgia. And for those who don't know, the YASS Prize, it focuses on education and innovation. And so that's been something that you've been doing for a good long time here. But I understand when you started, you were actually working and teaching out of your attic?
I was, which is absolutely insane. So I actually worked with No Child Left Behind for a couple of years, and I didn't like the results that I saw with the students. They weren't engaged with the worksheet model and just babysitting on the computer. And so I did what any normal American would do. I quit my job, I had $700 in the bank, and I said, I'm going to make this work in my attic. 3 months later, I had 20 kids. Less than a year later, an actual center in a school.
20 kids up there in the attic.
20 kids, and it's hilarious.
How big is your attic?
It's not big. It's maybe like 500 square feet. And my neighbors were peeking out the window like, what is she doing? Is that child labor laws being broken over? They didn't know what was going on. I was homeschooling the community's kids that needed it the most.
So that you have them up there like tying or knitting together basketballs, with their teeth and toes. Right. It's like this woman, what is she doing? It's like, so you started off with what actually developed your love or your drive for education?
I'd say a big piece of it started with my sister. She had a psych eval done when she was in 9th grade. And the doctor said, her IQ is super low. You guys need to teach her how to stand at Walmart and greet customers. And my parents said, that's not good enough for us. And they went to Chicago to the Marva Collins School, where she talked about literacy being important and project-based learning. And they decided to use that with my sister. And today she's making six figures working for the government.
That's fantastic.
So if you step outside the traditional system, sometimes it yields amazing results. And that's where kind of my drive and passion came from. And now I'm able to do that for other kids that I see just kind of lagging behind in the system.
It's interesting to hear about that, how you have to take upon the responsibility sometimes yourself to get the better results. Mm-hmm. I have a friend whose wife was in an accident. They told him that she would never walk again. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, we'll see about that. And between the therapist that he hired and the work that he did on the side, she's back doing her same job. Wouldn't know that she missed a step. So it's fantastic. You took that lesson that you got right there from your sister's work and are applying it now to the kids today. So how many kids do we have right now in SOAR Academy?
Well, thanks to the YASS Prize, we were a micro school last year, meaning we were servicing 60 kids. But this year we've quadrupled our enrollment. So we're at over 200 this year, and we're opening 2 additional locations. And the beauty of it is, with the YASS Prize, is that it's about public, private, charter, homeschool coming together to help kids. So with some of the things that we're initiating, public schools want to know what we're doing so we can reach the masses of the kids that really need the help. So
now that's not a story you usually hear when it comes to the private and the charter school and anything outside of the public school system. Right. From at least most of what I've seen and what I've read, they look upon anyone who is in public school as the enemy. Exactly. And to keep them away, we've got to shut it down and bring all that money back here to the public schools.
That's right.
But they're actually working with you.
They are. We all work together. The finalists of the YASS Prize, there was 8 of us, and 50% were public schools, 50% were private homeschool groups, so it's about whatever's going to work for kids. It doesn't matter if it's public, private, it's what's going to work for that child. And that's what we do at SOAR. It's very individualized. Are you auditory? Are you visual? How do you need to learn? And just driving that point home, that's how kids need to be approached, is what works for them.
So I'm finding this very interesting with the public schools actually working with. Are you finding like all of them, just some of them, or just like are you just right now, SOAR just in Georgia?
Yes.
Okay, so it's Georgia just now. Mainly with a handful of the Georgia public school systems.
Right. But I think what we're realizing, and you had a very good point, we have a lot of pushback. I mean, so there's still a lot of people that don't kind of believe in this model, but as they're seeing the test scores and the results come out, and we keep waiting and changing the public school, and we still have these horrible outcomes for kids, we've got to do something different. So I think we're starting to realize, with 10 states passing ESA funding this year, you know what? We might have to listen and finally decide that, the traditional way just isn't working anymore. And I like that parents aren't waiting anymore. They're homeschooling their kids. They're opening micro schools. They're having pods. They're forming coalitions. They're not waiting anymore on the system to make the changes. And that's something that we can get behind at SOAR, because we've heard no so much from the public school and just, nope, we don't like your model. It's not supported. And this year they said, we're going to give you guys a chance. We're going to fund your school. So it's changed. There's a shift happening.
And I can see that if you look at the last handful of elections, especially the one in Virginia, they said one of the main reasons that turned the way that it did for Youngkin over Terry McAuliffe was because of McAuliffe's public statements about education, and the parents don't have a voice. And all of a sudden, people are like, "Oh, we don't have a voice over our own children." Well, let me tell you a little something about that. So
Yes.
it's interesting to see that, spread state to state through there and get down there to Georgia.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to have 200 kids under the SOAR Academy system.
We are this fall, and then we are 5 miles from the South Carolina line, which is a state that did pass ASA funding. So we're also duplicating our model there. And then we're going to Oklahoma, which is also a huge proponent of just school choice. And so it's spreading quickly.
Interstate.
And yes.
Franchising.
Yes.
Reaching out.
Yes.
That is
exactly.
amazing.
Right.
Of course, I would assume there's all sorts of other controls and regulations and worries you have to go through about the difference between the Georgia law and the Oklahoma
Yes.
law and the South Carolina law and the.
I was just telling my colleagues, I said, we're apparently under the same nation, but each state's run so differently. So I hop 5 miles across the bridge, seriously, and then the rules change to how I can create a private school in South Carolina. It's different than it is in Georgia. So you run into all type of pushback. But the thing about being innovative and being an entrepreneur is that you don't take no for an answer. So that just fuels me more. When I hear no, I kind of perk up like a dog with a treat. I'm like, what did you say? Oh.
Why no?
Yeah.
Where exactly? What part of the no is actually that we're worried about here?
Yes.
It's like, well, I guess the folks in South Carolina just have a thing about kids and addicts. I don't know what to
And I will say, I know we're not going to put this part on, but I was a finalist for the YASS prize.
Mhm.
The actual winner is somebody else. So we're
Why
all
there's
finalists.
the
Yes,
finalists.
I was
Okay,
a
the
finalist,
overall.
Yes.
Apologies on that front there.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to.
I don't want her to come after me.
It's like, oh, well, that's actually mine.
Yes.
Okay, so with what are of the things overall, we'll just want to hit on some of the ideas that you said, since you are working with the public school systems.
Mhm.
What are some of the programs or the learning sessions or the things that they have taken from you that you're helping them out with?
Yeah. So one component is within every class, whether it be math, science, history, or literature, spending a few minutes on literacy. So if our students cannot read, what good is that science course going to do if they can't read? So just kind of splitting that time and letting that child go back and get literacy intervention is helpful. Implementing non-traditional seating in the classrooms to accommodate ADHD students. We get a lot of referrals from the public schools saying this child's disrupting our class. They don't do that at SOAR because there's other seating options. So just showing them that classroom, what that looks like, just different zones.
Is that giving them more space, or is it a space around where they're sitting, or where exactly in the classroom they're sitting? Or
Yeah, so I talked to a school district in North Dakota. They actually don't have desks. So, and that's a public school district in North Dakota. They were a YASS finalist as well. So we have folding tables, and then we have floor desks, wobble chairs. We have the cushion, seats. So any little space. Our school's not huge, but you can transform it to be multifunctional. And that's what we do by having folding tables. You can easily fold those up, put yoga mats out. So I don't think teachers even think about that sometimes. They don't have to sit in desks, even 20 kids. You can kind of innovate and create different seating options. It does a world of good for autistic kids and kids with ADHD. And they think they're doing something different now, even though they're still learning, but you've changed the environment, what that looks like. And it's amazing.
And that's what we're looking for, a change in the environment. Well,
Change
thank
in
you
the
very
environment.
much.
Yep.
This is Kenisha Skaggs from the SOAR Academy out there in Georgia. And we thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back soon with another edition from the ALEC annual meeting in Orlando, Florida.